Hello, everybody. Welcome to another movie chat. I'm here, Joe Mayo, along with Tim Allen tonight. And hi, Tim.
You,
And the Tim Allen, the celebrity Tim Allen. You know what I mean? Tim, you look like you got a haircut.
yeah, I got them all cut.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Exactly. Because I figure somebody's gonna bring it up eventually. So we have people here already hanging out here, like James Farley, for example. And of course, Woodland Goblin, who I noticed before I went on, he says, "Yeah, let's remember to bring up Carnival of Souls."
Yeah,
It's a little inside joke, same topics over and over. So that probably won't happen. So yeah. So anyway, I hope that we get some people here going to join us for this, and I'll be saying this more as the show goes on. But if anybody out there is somebody that I know, you know who you are, and you want to come up and talk about some movie, you can do that too. So I don't even know. I guess you have to start when we get started, Tim, even though we're just starting out, about maybe what you did since our last show, if you watched anything, you know.
I haven't seen much memorable, to be honest, to talk about. I'm still watching my 50 war films box, and there's not much memorable in there. Though. I mean, there's some interesting things and some early appearances by people and stuff, but nothing even past like 24 hours. It's mostly forgotten. It's just that kind of stuff. But I did see this for the very first time just now because I wanted to watch something.
Oh, is that the one I saw? The Force Awakens. I
This
saw.
is
You saw the whole
episode,
thing already?
this is episode 7
I don't know if that's the one I saw.
with Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and yeah.
The fake Carrie Fisher at the end.
No, real Carrie Fisher is in this one.
Oh, The Force Awakens. Why am I?
He died after this.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I've heard good and bad about this film. I thought it was better than 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 not being the originals, being the second generation. I thought it was better than any of those. And then at the end, it tells me J.J. Abrams directed it. I'm like, oh, that might have something to do with it. I thought this was a pretty decent film. I thought it went better with the first 3 than the second 3 did, I thought. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was ludicrous like they all are. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. But for a Star Wars film, I thought this was a Star Wars film, where the other ones,
Right.
Yeah. And I got it on. I haven't watched the special features yet. I got it on Blu-ray, and it comes with a DVD, and all the special features are on the DVD. Well, I don't know why they do that. So now I got to switch discs and put it on the DVD and watch the special features. But that's about all I've watched that's memorable.
Star Wars is, I mean, it's the same thing as talking about Jaws or Rocky or any of that.
Yeah, but
I'm not a big fan,
Yeah, I'm not either. But, I mean, that's worth seeing just because, this nostalgia. Harrison Ford shows up and you can't help but smile, you're like, yeah, okay. I mean, and that's what it's all about. That's a nostalgia movie. It's 100%,
Yeah, the first 3 I appreciate enough.
Yeah.
And then I saw Phantom Menace, which I didn't like at all. And then I saw Attack of the Clones, I think, which was pretty good, if I remember. And what was the other one after that? Revenge of the Sith.
No.
Revenge of the Sith.
I think that's better than all of those, to be honest. I really do. And maybe it's because George Lucas didn't direct it, I hate to say, but stuff happens. There's still too many static shots. It's still 20 minutes longer than it needs to be, at least. And but for a fairly modern film, I thought it was pretty good.
I saw a few movies, but I haven't. I'm supposed to make videos about them, but I didn't. Oh, I don't know if I've talked about any of them before. One of them was they were horror movies. So not all. Well, yeah, the ones that I'm going to talk about, like Doctor Terror's House of Horrors. Some people know that it's one of those anthology films. There's multiple stories in one movie, and that's the first one. That's known as the first Amicus movie. It's pretty good. Had Donald Sutherland in one of the stories, very young Donald Sutherland. Peter Cushing's in it. And let's see, after that, I also saw something called Hand of Death. You know, Hand of Death stars John Agar. He's the 50s guru of these things, which I'm going to do a video on that. It's about a guy that's experimenting as a doctor on nerve gas, and he winds up turning into a monster. And the monster looks like Ben Grimm, the Thing from the Fantastic Four. He wears a hat and a trench coat. It looks like he's made of rocks. And it's the same time as the first issue of Fantastic Four. And I'm trying to figure out what came first. You know, was it the movie copying the comic or the comic copying the movie? Anyway, That was a lost film for many years. It was found in the early 2000s. A lot of people say it should stay lost. You know, it's 60 minutes, quick. And it moves fast, and it's just a monster nonsense movie, which is really good. And but then I saw another movie called The Man Who Turned to Stone. These are all movies that I got to talk more about, which I shall, and when I do the actual videos of them. What I like about that is it's a 1950s movie. It's in a girls' what do you call reformatory, whatever, you know, and the girls are being experimented on, that kind of thing, you know, for devious experiments. So The Man Who Turned to Stone, if you see the review, you'll know where that comes from, that title. But then last night I was just going around, like late at night, I woke up and at like 2:00, 3:00 in the morning, the Shootist was on, which is John Wayne's last movie. And I didn't know that, you know. All I saw was I woke up, but didn't really watch the movie. I just watched 20 minutes. And I saw Lauren Bacall with John Wayne from 1976. And then her son was played by Ron Howard.
Yep.
You know, and I'm like, I didn't even know this, you know, and I'm like, that's interesting. I wish I was caught it earlier. Maybe I would have watched the whole damn thing. And that was interesting. And rather than turn the TV off, I left it on. And then, like, I woke up again later. And what's the Paul Newman movie? Oh, boy, he's a detective or a wise guy cop. Harper, maybe.
Okay.
And that looked good, too. I got to see these movies.
Oh, yeah, no, Harper's supposed to be. I own Harper. I've never seen it. I need to watch it.
Oh, that happens. Yeah, only movies. Absolutely. It's a movie discussion. Yeah. And Harold said he liked Reagan, you know, so. Hello. The Shootist is a good film. Yeah, it looked pretty good. I thought, considering it was John Wayne's last movie, I thought he looked pretty good in the movie.
Yeah, no, he was dying at that point, and he knew it. And, you know, they did as much as they could.
You do what you can, I guess.
Yeah, you know, to make him look like John Wayne and to act like John Wayne. And
you got to act like John. I saw the. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying there might have been more stuntmen in that movie than he usually used. Put it that way.
I saw The House of the Shootist, where he lived in Carson City, Nevada. Yeah, 1st of October. Oh, yeah, I already shot a tiny little video for October month to see if I'm going to do it. I didn't put it up yet. What I'm going to do is, again, the idea for me is to spend probably the entire month, not every day. I'm not saying it's going to be every single day, but a good amount of time just watching movies horror related that I've never seen before. You know, so whereas a lot of times I reach for ones that, you know, I know that I've seen, maybe I like, or maybe ones I've seen 10, 15 years ago, don't really remember. But this is going to be the goal for October this year, is going to be to try to see all kinds of horror movies that I've never seen before. You know. All right. What else? Also, I've been getting my Lost in Space on, which we're watching one Lost in Space episode every Saturday night. I watched Attack of the Monster Plants. Was it Attack of the Giant Plants? Something like that. Something like that. Pretty good. I should be talking to Doc Dacus about that more. But we already did on his show.
Yeah.
And I've also been putting on Night Gallery, which still is not impressing me very much.
I got through like 2 episodes and stopped. I didn't have to stop. I'm like, I don't like the format, and that's problematic.
Yeah, it's not exactly the best format. The thing about paintings or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I don't like the little 5-minute vignettes, and some of them are funny, and I don't just do 2 half-hour things. Or if they're gonna do 2 half-hour things, why don't you just make it a half-hour show and do one a week? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get the format. I don't understand the format.
Different stories, little stories. I don't know.
Yeah.
The thing I do enjoy seeing who directed them. Steven Spielberg so far directed a couple of young Steven Spielberg, and I like to see certain actors pop up. I mean, I can't think of them all. Diane Keaton, Burgess Meredith, Larry Hagman. All these people, they're in there, and I like seeing the actors. But for me, the thing is, it's just not very mesmerizing anymore. All these decades later, it doesn't strike me as being cutting edge or anything anymore, where it might have been back then.
Yeah.
Say.
I don't know that movie, Richard. I have no idea what that movie is.
Well,
there's a lot of movies about terror trains, though. They're not all called terror trains, but
Harold Curse of the Faceless Man. It's funny because my girlfriend was watching. She was on she was doing something else, and she was like watching it at the same time, and she said, "Oh, that seemed." She didn't catch the whole thing, but she said that seems pretty interesting. Curse of the Faceless Man. I'm like, well, yeah, because it's about reincarnation, so she's interested in that somewhat. So that's probably why. Hello, Tanner. Yeah, I know. So many movies. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
a little time.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I have it on DVD, and I saw it a couple of years ago, probably.
Hi, Eric. Shootist was finished in '76 before they found his final illness. Wayne didn't die until 1979, 3 years later. The character has cancer in the movie.
Yeah, they knew by then. They knew by then. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they thought they could save him, but they knew he had cancer by then. I think he knew he had cancer in the movie before that, actually. He knew for quite a while.
Rod Serling had no real control on Night Gallery, unlike Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure they just wanted his name and his likeness, and that's about it.
I'm going through a whole bunch of things I've seen on, like I said, 3:00 in the morning on Turner. I'm running out of my list of things to keep this going, like things that I've seen or whatever, and not much more really to talk about.
Yeah,
just unless I can think of something I've seen that I didn't mention.
I watched an interesting TV series that's British. I recommend it if you have a very quirky sense of humor and you just like to watch things that are interesting, because there's nothing great about it. There's nothing very, very funny about it, but its time, it was probably cutting edge. It's from '66. It's a British series, and it's called The Strange World of Gurney Slade. There's only 6 episodes. They're all on YouTube. It starred Anthony Newley. That's how Anthony Newley got really popular in England. It was David Bowie's favorite TV show. That's how I found out about it. David Bowie was just mad about this show. And it's about this guy. He's an actor. And the show starts out in the middle of a scene in his show, and it's so inane. He's just sitting there. Finally, he gets up, doesn't say a word the entire time. All this dialogue and stuff's going on. He's just sitting there. He gets up, gets on his coat. Somebody says, "You going for a walk?" And he sits back down in his chair, and they're still talking about how he wants his eggs over and over again in many different ways. And finally, he just gets up, walks out, and that's the end of that part of the show. And now the next 6 episodes is him just wandering the streets, talking to the camera about how silly life is, and it's interesting because he's talking to a camera the whole time. I mean, there are other people turn up here and there, but it's an interesting show. Very odd.
I believe you.
Yeah, so it's on YouTube if anybody ever wants to check it out. All 6 episodes.
There you go. I've watched a few episodes of Night Gallery since I picked up the DVD set. So far, it's definitely seems like some are better than others. I kind of like the one with Roddy McDowell. Yes, I did too. And that was a good one. That was the first one. I think it was the very first episode, part of the pilot, I think.
Then I've probably seen that one because I watched the first 2. Unless I don't have season 1. I can't remember. I have 1 or 2 seasons. I don't have them all. And I might not have season 1. It might be season 2 that I have. I don't even know.
That's the Night House. I mean, some are stronger than others. I remember there was one about a guy that they knows how to like make it look like somebody died, or they can not that they look like he died. Now I think they can make a person die or come back to life or something like that. Both, whatever they want, or maybe I don't know if it was simulated death or what, but whatever it is, the end is good because it involves like a crypt, that kind of thing, which is kind of creepy. So I got a lot to try to watch. I don't know how many. I don't know how many films. You know me. It's going to be either it could be 1 movie in October, or it could be 31, or it could be 10 or 8, 4. I have no idea what it's going to be. I don't think it's like Twilight Zone, really.
Yeah, to me, it's more like one of those other shows. Like what was the show that Boris Karloff did? It's more like that.
Thriller.
No, there's another one that he did. It's not Thriller.
Veil? Yeah,
The Veil. It's more like that. It's just weird things happen. It more than to me, it's more like that.
So this is the movie The Night House, 2020 psychological horror. Wife of a dead architect discovers all kinds of strange stuff he was involved in. Night Gallery episodes, The Waiting Room with Buddy Epson. I haven't seen that one. They're tearing down the bar with William Wyndham. I just saw William Wyndham in something. I don't know if it was a Night Gallery. Yeah, there was one with, was it him? I don't know. It was one of them when they were on a ship, and there's the Titanic, and I don't know. I was kind of nodding off during that one. Like, it was all these different big ships. I don't know what they call it. Classic ships that had disasters. I don't know. I'm still doing my job of getting them on, but I'm not documenting them here. And even the same thing with Lost in Space. I really should do like a video for every episode. What are you going to say about it? Oh, this was a really good one. I like the way. Well, I guess you could say that. So and so, Guy Williams had a strong showing in this one. I don't know. The robot was well used.
I don't think I'd ever say this is a really good one about any episode of Lost in Space.
Oh, I do. Sure, I do. Antimatter Man is great. Well, yeah. A lot of them. Well, look you. Vampirella comics. I remember. All I remember is like having a magazine with Vampirella. I think Vampirella was advertised in it. I don't know if it was a Vampirella magazine or she was just advertised. And my mother couldn't believe her eyes, and she was like, which is true. I mean, those those pictures were pretty revealing. Comics of Vampirella, very scantily clad, and it was like pushing the envelope back then. She couldn't believe it. No, I do not. I don't really like the TV show. Every time this comes up, which it does, I love the first movie called The Night Stalker. That's my favorite. And then they did another movie called The Night Strangler, which I like too. And then they did the TV series. And the TV series, to me, which happens a lot with TV series, is kind of weak compared to the two movies, I think.
I liked it when I was a kid. I haven't seen it since. I literally have not seen it since. And if I saw the movies, I saw them when they aired too, so I would have been, kind of young. I
Somebody
really
asked, where was it? I don't want to forget this. Yeah, there it is. Do you only like vintage horror? No, I prefer older stuff. I mean, older stuff. What 1920s silent to like 1980s is my favorite period. But there's other stuff I like. I just saw a couple of newer movies. Thanksgiving. I saw 10. I like those. Those are newer movies. By the way, speaking of the 20s, the Phantom of the Opera is supposed to be at a theater with live accompaniment, music accompaniment. So I might see about that. If my girlfriend wants to go, maybe we'll go.
Wow. Is the color portion there?
I imagine so.
And there's also, I don't know if it would be in there, they also re-released it in round 30, 29 or 30 with actually a little bit of sound.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know about that.
Yeah. I don't think there's any talking in it or anything. Maybe a little bit. But I think like the ball scene when it's in color, I think they included an actual orchestral score and music and stuff in that scene.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I always remember that scene having that in there, but I don't know.
But I mean, this people saw it that way in the theater with the piano would stop and that would come on, and then the piano would start back up again.
Hello, Peter. And so that brings us up to the moment. Thank you to the people who are here, or if you have anything TV or movie related, we can discuss that. Got to be here for 2 hours, folks. Unless that's why I'm starting at 7 instead of 6. I was ready to start at 6:30, but I sat here for half an hour because I don't want to do 2.5 hours. It's hard enough to stretch it. So, yeah, I'm going to try to do this every week, every Tuesday. Some people who have seen past shows may notice Tom Hunyadi is not here. Usually joins us, but he usually has to work on this Tuesday nights. So it doesn't work good because this is the night I want to do it because I'm here at this school. Okay. So I want to do it Tuesday nights. I don't want to do it Wednesday night because then I got to do 2 shows. I got to do something tonight and then something tomorrow night. Just want to do one. Yeah. I don't know about Amazing Stories. It's a TV series. I remember a comic or magazine or something.
I don't. That sounds familiar, but I don't remember it.
Yeah. And then again, back to what I was saying about Tuesdays. Now, next Tuesday, I might not be here actually, but I might be here Thursday. So I don't know yet. That next week is up in the air already. Just getting started. Yeah. So.
Well, let me know. And Peter brings up a good point about documentaries, because I would say movies made from the teens through the 80s, even 90s, are better than movies made today for the most part. They knew what they were doing. They had style and blah, blah, blah. But documentaries, I think old documentaries aren't very good, and newer documentaries, I think documentaries are the one sort of film that have improved greatly over the last 30 or 40 years.
I just want to say, even though I try not to get into the habit of discussing Beatles during this, but hello, Beatle Eddie. But I was thinking of you because some people may know that Ringo had to cancel his show tonight in Philadelphia, and he's canceling his show tomorrow in New York at Radio City because he's got a cold, quote. I don't know if it's just a cold, but the thing is, so I felt a little vindicated because I didn't buy tickets. I didn't get tickets for this. I passed. So I feel bad for the people that got tickets. Supposedly it's going to be refunded, but you know, I just thought I would mention that. You know,
when an 84 guy says I'll make it up next time, I don't necessarily buy it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, Ringo's a different kind of 84-year-old though, but I don't know. I watched Cannon when I was a kid. I thought William Conrad was good. Yeah, he's good. Big man. He did the often sarcastic narration for Rocky and Bullwinkle. Is that right?
Yeah, but I mean, they, these days, if they don't have detective shows really, but if they did, they would all be they'd all be James Bondy kind of guys. They're all big, swarthy, very good-looking guys. And back in the 70s, you had Barnaby Jones, who was about 90. You had Ironsides, who was in a wheelchair. You had Cannon that weighed about 400 pounds. You wouldn't get that today.
Barnaby Jones, man. I was like one time watching that. I don't know. I can't believe they're so old, Barnaby Jones.
Yeah.
What about the one with Andy Griffith? Matlock? Is that?
Well, man, he was just a lawyer, though. He wasn't really a detective.
Oh, he's a lawyer.
He did a lot of detecting, but he wasn't supposed. He had that guy from The Greatest American Hero was his detective.
Yeah.
But he wound up doing a lot of it anyway, which lawyers don't really do detective things. I hate to tell people.
Toxic Avenger. I've never seen Toxic Avenger.
I haven't either. I'm not a trauma guy. I don't know if I should be, but I'm not.
I've liked some trauma movies, but not movies that were real. But they're not trauma movies, really. Maybe they were released by trauma.
Yeah,
but they weren't made by trauma.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Hi, Matt Stickman. Oh yeah, I finished The Odd Couple Blu-ray set a long time ago. My take overall is that it was well done. I mean, quality wise, it's a notch above the DVD. I noticed the difference, but still, they're still cut. There's still edits to them because they don't want to pay for certain music bits. So then, but still, like Tom Hunyadi's never seen him before, and he's loving the show. He really likes it, and he doesn't know anything's missing. He doesn't realize, so he's fine with it. It sucks that they don't ever go back and do what they got to do and make sure you get it uncut. A lot of people want that,
And sometimes it's impossible to get the music right. Sometimes whoever holds the copyright just says no, and there's nothing you can do about it. But WKRP didn't come out on any physical format for years and years and years. I don't think it was ever out on videotape because of the music.
Exactly.
And it took a long time for Miami Vice too, and they did wind up changing a bunch of the music, and then they had to pay a bunch for the music that they kept.
Yeah. There was a whole thing with The Fugitive, David Jansen, which I've never seen all of The Fugitives. I'd love to see those shows, and I do have some. But I know a guy I used to work with who's a fanatic over The Fugitive, knows them like the back of his hand. And they redid the music or whatever. There was music score problems in the score.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was season 2. One season was heavily altered. And I don't know if that should affect me, my enjoyment of it, if I don't know any different.
Yeah.
But, I would have thought Buddy Epson wanted to retire when it started. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I always hate it when people grumble about it. I'm not saying you're grumbling. I'm just saying I hate it when people, I'm not buying this because they change it. They should just be happy that you can get it. That's always my opinion of this stuff. You take what you can get. They're doing the best they can. And, take it and be happy, or pass it by, but don't grumble about it because somebody owns the rights to something and they're either charging too much or they won't let them use it. It's not, be happy with what you get. And
the only thing I can answer to that is, for me, it would be an individual case. I'd take each. I guess I would take each situation individually. In this case, blah blah blah. Then I'd say, okay, I'll take it this way, better than nothing. Then another case, I might say, no, they shouldn't have. They could have done this, or it should have done that.
Well, yeah, you don't know that they could have, though. Like, there's so much. I say this every week almost, but there's so much tied in with legalities and all of this stuff that there's so many people involved, and it's sometimes you just can't.
But it could be that some stuff is better not seen than ruined. I don't know an example, but if there's like something where the music is like Jaws, I don't know. Say Jaws. This is a crazy example, but we did mention Jaws after all. Like Jaws, the movie, all of a sudden they did, for whatever reason, you got to change the score. Well, said, at least we get it with a new score. It's better than nothing. I don't know about that. That's an extreme example.
Yeah, or if the music is integral. I mean, let's say they had to change the Partridge Family music for all the episodes. No, just don't put it out. But for most things, the music isn't that integral. It'd be nice, but you can still enjoy.
Well, the Odd Couple, there's a lot of scenes in there, and not with the Odd Couple. Not all of them are like singing or songs. They could be lines that have like lyrics in the talking or something, reciting the lines to a song. They ruin the whole joke. What are you going to do? So, what else we got? So it looks like the Mr. CineMayo title has stuck for a little bit of time, at least a week. At least. I might wind up changing. A lot of people like Mr. CineMayo. I kind of like it too, but you never know with me. Doesn't have a real horror vibe. If that's going to be where I decide to go, but I like that. I'm going to watch things like Barnaby Jones. There's so many things out there. How could you possibly see them all? Like if I suddenly decided I want to see Barnaby Jones, like you got to get it on, man. Get the stuff watched. Wonder Years was another one.
Oh yeah, Wonder Years. There's a lot of shows that they've had music issues and they didn't come out. At least it took them a long time if they did come out. Like KRP, when it came out, they only changed a few songs. They wound up being able to keep most of the songs, but there are a few that are missing, but not that many.
Did I put this up? I don't remember. I'll tell you, my shoulder's killing me. I'm complaining because I'm sitting here on the desk and I'm leaning on the desk. But you got it, man. I got to lean on it. So, anyway, I told Tom Hunyadi, I said, Tom, I think it's more important that you stay home every week than go to work. So you can do this. You can do this show, And who knows? See, the thing is, I don't know. I mean, otherwise, I was toying with the idea of doing my Mean Mr. Mayo, so-called Catch Up with Mayo Q&A here every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I want one of those every week either. You got a lot of time to go on so that people have questions or updates and things to talk about. Not every week, as far as that goes. But there's usually, movie-wise, if we're into movies, we should be watching something every week. And I keep saying movies when I actually mean any kind of visual art, television episodes or whatever. All they had was the giant-sized water today when we were picking up water.
That's better. I was too bright and I wanted to fix that. That's a little better.
So what's on everybody's so-called minds? That's a line from the movie called Stakeout, which I can't find that anywhere, at least not Region 1. I think I had it once a long time ago when it was a bad copy of it. It's Richard Dreyfuss, Emilio Estevez. It's really a fun movie.
Yeah, I used to see that at Blockbuster all the time.
Yeah.
movies for sale racks, but I don't think I've seen it since.
Yeah, I didn't like the sequel, Another Stakeout. Rosie O'Donnell, didn't like that one. Just didn't work to me. Sometimes two films can be good. Sometimes maybe not. Oh, that's interesting. I found a channel on YouTube called Lost and Found. Lost and Found or Found. They take public domain films that are only available in poor copies, use AI to improve the picture sound with nice results.
That's good. That's cool. There are so many movie channels on YouTube right now. I don't know how they're getting away with it because a lot of the movies aren't public domain that they're showing, and there's got to be a couple of hundred. All they do is show movie channels now. At least there's so many.
I found one called, I think, Awful Movies. I think it's called. You know, it's you have to be into like this really bad movie, like So Great Z movies, so bad they're good, that kind of thing. And they show guy shows clips, but he's reviewing them. Really, you're not watching the movies.
Okay.
He talks about movies he's seen and shows you clips as he's talking about them, and that's fun. Talking about Night Gallery earlier, different anthology TV series. So, what would you say your favorite anthology movie is? Well, I just mentioned recently Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, which I think is really a good one from Amicus Films. But then, of course, that led into all other kinds of films. So, Tales from the Crypt, the movie Tales from the Crypt, also in that series, and The Vault of Horror is another one of those anthology films, and The House That Dripped Blood. These are all like from that series. Asylum is another one that have little vignettes, like three vignettes or 4 vignettes or whatever. So there are a bunch of them, but I think The House That Dripped Blood, Tales from the Crypt, and Dr. Terror's House of Horrors were ones I liked.
Yeah. I can't think of one that I like, but I'm not a big horror movie guy. And I think most anthology series just make a television episode and put it on television. I don't really watch a movie for 3 or 4 little movies in it. You know, I watch a movie because I want to watch a movie. You know, so
I got you.
I've never gotten the I get why it happens, but it's not necessarily for me, I guess.
Yeah, I think of other ones like that. Okay.
Buster Keaton, The 3 Ages. There you go. There's my favorite anthology movie.
You never know, Gregory. You never know. Or if I'll be on with Denny, but I think it's a good idea not to bet. Because I'm taking a break from those morning shows. Okay, so there you go. Dario Argento cut of Romero Dead film was interesting. I found a copy recently. Yeah, I saw that a long time ago. You know, I don't recall what was different. Sherry Carter, drive-in ads. Oh yeah, drive-in ads, and sometimes those are fun too, just the drive-in ads.
Yeah, there's whole trailer channels now, 2 hours of trailers. You know, all of this stuff has sprung up recently. I found what's interesting that shows mostly kung fu movies.
Yeah, you like those. Well, any horror, disturbing films giving you nightmares. What's interesting about me my whole life, pretty much, is I never really had nightmares until when I don't watch them, I have nightmares. I've had more nightmares, I guess here and there, off and on. If you call them nightmares, not so much nightmares like I'm talking about like just uncomfortable dreams of distress or things bothering me. You know, by not watching them, I really believe it was an outlet. It was an outlet, like any of your stresses or things bothering you, or phobias, depressions, whatever you want to call them, maybe got released through movies. So I kind of, and I'm getting more sensitive to movies too, which I can't believe it. I'm going to tell you something that's going to be hard to even say. Okay, now I've watched my share of gory movies, you know, all kinds of gore movies, And I always say this because I want to be clear. They're not my favorite. I can watch them. I can enjoy them if I'm in the right twisted mood. But I kind of prefer more subtle, older, classy horror films. All right. But the other day on YouTube, I don't remember what it was called. It was like Gore Scenes Volume Number 1, Gore Scenes Volume 2. And I'm watching them, and I'm like, oh, I was like any other normal person out there that used to say, why would you watch this stuff? Like maybe, I don't know, like, and one of them was, and this is the one I said it's going to be hard to even say it. Somebody had a razor blade on the girl's head. It was going down. I'm like, no. And I'm thinking, don't go into the eye. And, and I'm like watching it, and I'm saying, why would anybody want to watch this? Which is kind of what people used to say.
That famous French film, I forgot who made it now, with the slicing of the eye.
Yeah, no, that's tough. That's really tough.
I watched something on YouTube. This wasn't a horror film or anything. I watched a couple of animal rescue channels, real ones, because I like what these people do. And they found this dog that had been, Lord knows what had happened to it, but this dog was near death. I mean, it didn't even try to run from the guy or anything. It just let him be picked up, and he shows the dog's butt, and there's a giant hole in it, and it's filled with maggots. And I was just like, oh.
I got off the screen for that one.
Yeah, no, I had to look away. I'm like, oh. And they kept showing it, and then they're showing them picking them out in the vets. And I'm like, oh. The things you can't show on YouTube, and yet you can show that. I'm like, oh, my God.
Right? Hello, Michael. Now, some of Mr. Blood Vessel, some of Criterion's films are uploaded to YouTube without commercials. I can't pronounce it, but Solaris. Now, where were you? All of his films, talking about Andre, all his films are a must-watch. Somebody was talking about Louis Buñuel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Buñuel and Dolly did that. I forget what it's called, and it starts with an A.
There were a few. I got into a period of time where I was watching a lot of. I heard about him from somebody. I was watching some of his movies, but I can't remember now what the name of them was. I feel like one of them was just a letter of alphabet or something short, a short title. If not, maybe a couple of letters. Geez. Anyway, he didn't do Belle du Jour, did he? Belle du Jour?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Because that was a good movie, and I forget if he did. But what was the movie that? I can't remember what it was. It's been so long. Yeah, there's some grim films out there, let me tell you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Buster Keaton.
Yep. And he never used a stuntman. In fact, he was a stuntman for other people in some of his films. There's a famous film. I think it's the one where, what's it called? It's the one where he to inherit like $1 million, he needs to be married by 5 o'clock. And there's this motorcycle cop chasing him, and the guy on the motorcycle falls off the motorcycle, and he keeps going. And that's actually Keaton dressed up like the motorcycle guy, being the stuntman. You wouldn't find that today. The star being the stuntman for some other actor, right? But no, Keaton did it.
Yeah, there you go. There's your little special effect.
Yeah, it's a pig's eye. I know it's a pig's eye, but it's still.
This was another movie. This wasn't that one. I know the one I was talking about anyway.
Yeah, Chin and the Wind or whatever. That's the movie. You had an A in it somewhere. I was forced to watch that in high school, and I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah. Well, I got to get more of a schedule.
Okay, it
going.
was Sherlock Jr. All right. I get them all mixed up. But
There you
yeah,
go.
and he did all his own stunts. So did I'm not gonna think of his name.
Evil Knievel.
No, Harold Lloyd. And Harold
Oh,
Lloyd blew 2 of his fingers off, and he had a glove on. He was to cover it up. He only had 3 fingers, and he's still hanging off things with that hand with only 3 fingers on the hand.
did he do the one with the house falling on him or something? Who's the one who did the house
No,
falls down?
that's Keaton. That's Keaton, and he did that, and he did that again himself. And then so many other people have done that. And that's really dangerous because I don't even think it was on hinges or anything. I think it was just propped up, and then they knocked it over. And if it moved, it's a whole side of a house. If they hit it wrong or it moved, it's
Yeah,
not like
I know.
today where they would calculate it to,
Taking a real chance there.
Then they just did it.
It's not, you don't get a second chance sometime. There you go. Pretty scary there, I guess.
No, not.
I never did my Lady Frankenstein review. There's so many things, and I watched things and I didn't do the reviews. Yeah, I mean, but I just think it's interesting that I haven't seen like real like deep horror films for a long time, like extreme ones. So I'm starting to get a little sensitive to them again, which is strange. Oh man, I need a Tums or something. So what's on everybody's so-called minds? Maybe Tom Hagnotti could take a break from work and tell us what he watched this week. Oh, what happened to Tim? I didn't do that. I didn't see Longlegs, but I heard that it was pretty good. At least I don't think we're going to put a link up again in case Tim needs the link. I don't know what happened. I don't think I did that. I just took myself off screen for a minute. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Sorry, Joe. My internet was cutting out. Then it got better, and I could hear you, and then it was gone.
I actually invited Danny here only because, he watched like a few movies, and he said, maybe I'll come on and talk about them. I saw a few movies, and I said, come on, you're welcome to come on. But anyway, all I know is that Tom saw Longlegs and he liked it. I thought that's all I know about it. I didn't see it. And then the other one, whatever the title is, Demi Moore, the new ones that's out.
I have no idea.
So.
Yeah, that's a different house falling on him. The famous one is I forget, he gets married and they give him a house for the wedding present, but it's a kit and he's got to build it. That's the one where the house.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to sound, tricks with sound and stuff, I'm glad in a way that I'm not into that so much. Like I don't have to have sounds coming all around me, surround. I'm happy if everything's in mono. But I don't know. Eventually, maybe when I get into my new place ever, I'll get a sound bar or something, a bigger set.
Surround sound is nice, but I mean, my parents used to have it, and they gave it up.
But as long as I wouldn't mind it, as long as I could hear the dialogue. I hate when you have car crashes and whatever explosions and things really loud, and they're talking a conversation, you can't hear it. But sound bars are supposed to help that.
Well, speakers on TVs are terrible. They're in the back, which is the worst place for a speaker. You want
I don't get that either.
Well, they want the whole screen. They want the whole screen. That's why it's, you know, the TV I use for a monitor, ironically, is a 37-inch TV, and it has basically a little sound bar along the bottom of it. But I don't ever use the sound from it, which is a shame because it sounds really good.
Yeah, The Substance is the name of the Demi. I always say Demi, but it's Demi, I think. But Demi Moore movie, the new horror one. Days of Thrills and Laughter. Isn't that old? The old comedians. The Days of Thrills and Laughter.
I've probably seen it. There's a lot of those sorts of, I'll call them documentaries, but they're not. Yeah, 1 week was the build your house kit, and then the front of the house falls on him at one point. And then they're on the wrong lot and they gotta move the house. Yeah.
The cinematography in Longlegs was quite good, which heightened the creep factor. But I heard people were laughing at some of the effects or something. I don't know. I don't understand. I think that's the movie. Some people said they were getting a chuckle out of it.
Well, I would agree that some of that has a lot to do with the cinematographer. It also has to do with the director, because the director sets up the shot, tells you where to put the camera, and the cinematographer just does it. So if the director doesn't have imagination or can't be bothered, then there's not much the cinematographer can do.
7 Chances.
Yeah, 7 Chances was the one where Buster gets married to inherit the money. Yeah, as soon as I see the title, I'll know them. Yeah, that's a brilliant scene. The end of that movie is brilliant.
Yeah, Safety Last.
Yeah,
Harold Lloyd.
Yeah, that's his most famous film. That's a film where he's hanging on a clock.
Yeah,
he's climbing up a wall. You know, he climbs up a building like a Spider-Man kind of thing. And again, he's got 2 fingers blown off a hand. He's only got 3 fingers on his hand, and up he goes. You know,
all you got to do is CG it in.
Well, no, he always wore a glove. He always wore flesh-colored gloves. You couldn't tell.
I mean him doing the stunt these days.
Yeah, no. Back then, I mean, they fake when he's off the clock. I've seen pictures, and he's probably 5 feet off the ground or something. He's not, you know, but they make it look good. But he is still hanging there anyway. You know, whether he's how far off the ground he is doesn't really matter.
Osgood Perkins. I don't know.
Oh.
Directed Longlegs.
Okay.
Oh boy. So
what else?
What's everybody's good words? What's the good words? Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah. Like I said,
I'm off the camera. The pressure's off.
Been watching war movies, and there's not much to say about most of them. You know, I've learned a little bit about World War II battles and things, but you know, there's not much to say about the movies, really. Yeah, that's how they did the clock, and it wasn't that high up. They just made it look like it was really. It was probably a 4-story building, and they just built part of a building on top of that so that it looked real. But he's on the roof of a building, so yeah.
How could Cage's character look like that, and nobody suspects him of being a serial killer? I don't know what he looks like.
I don't know.
There you go. There's a little more talk.
Yeah. But they make it looks good. But he is still doing what he's doing. He's just not that high up in the air. He's a few feet in the air.
I saw a black and white vampire film at a horror festival in the 70s where the vampire could disappear. He spent his time tormenting people in a hospital. Never remember what the name of the movie was. A black and white one in a hospital? Jeez, it doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, I'm getting the yawns. Ah. Damn. Well, we almost have half the show done. An hour to go, folks. Come up with your thoughts.
Yeah,
I gotta do a big belch. Oh man, that was quiet. You should have heard that.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, that's 3.
Great.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Sometimes you discuss movies and things and you give spoilers. Can't always be helped. But some people figure if a movie's old enough, you should have seen it already.
Well, I think that for movies that are like over 20 years old, maybe, but you know.
There you go. There you go.
I don't care about spoilers anyway, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you got me there. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Not that I don't sit down to watch a Laserdisc. I just decide what film I'm going to watch, and if it's on Laserdisc, then I watch it on Laserdisc. You know, I don't care about format. You know, I don't go, oh, I think I'll watch a Blu-ray tonight. No, if there's a movie I want to watch and I have it on Blu-ray, I watch a Blu-ray.
I think I'll watch a Criterion tonight.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I don't really consider the format. You know, I go, oh, I want to watch. God, now I can't think of the name of that movie. Well, Young Frankenstein. I think I only have Young Frankenstein on Laserdisc. I'll watch it on Laserdisc.
Well,
You know?
I don't know if I had. Well, I don't have them on like different formats, but if I did, I might say, do I want to watch the Laserdisc this time or the Blu-ray?
Well, I might do that, but I'll pick the movie out first. Usually, sometimes I'll go. I feel like watching a Laserdisc, and I'll go through my Laserdiscs. But you know, if I want to watch an '80s Hong Kong film, I have way more of those on Laserdisc than I have on DVD, for example. Because there was a time when they were dirt cheap and they weren't even available on DVD. So I bought a lot of them for between $2 and $4 a piece.
I think I got dry eye syndrome acting up again.
Uh-oh.
Good thing I have a little pack of tissues with me. All I got to do is that a few times. Yeah. This happens.
Well, you should turn it on and watch one once in a while because the belts will go bad.
Yeah.
They'll go bad anyway, but they'll, you know, they're like this, and then they'll get little, you know, they won't spin freely because they'll be bunged up at the corners. So you should once in a while just stick a disc in it and play it. Good for it.
Yeah. What was the movie that was a sequel to The Shining? I don't know.
I didn't know it was one.
Shining too.
Yeah.
A new feature. I wish there was a new feature so you could pause the film, hover your pointer over an actor, and give us a brief explanation of who they are. I find myself looking at my partner and who the hell is that guy? Now, look, all I could tell you is I remember some friends complaining about that, in the 90s or whatever.
That's mostly a fallacy. There was one company that made Laserdiscs early on that used a glue that came apart over time, and that's where you get Laserdisc rot. It isn't that many titles. It's predominantly one, and it happened early. Your Laserdiscs are not sitting there rotting now. Okay, if it rotted, it rot. It may continue to get worse if it's a rotting Laserdisc, but I mean, it's just adhesive failure is all Laserdisc rot is.
I remember HD lost to Blu-ray. I mean, it was like, as I remember, it was Betamax.
Yeah, no, it did.
I don't know what the difference, but it was between Blu-ray and HD.
Yeah, it's just a different format. There's no serious picture thing or anything. But Sony, I'm pretty sure Sony did HD DVDs, and they're always proprietary, which is a stupid thing to be about their technology. That's why mini discs didn't catch on, because they were so proprietary. They wouldn't, for the longest time, they wouldn't let other people make mini disc players. They wouldn't let other people make mini discs. So if you're the only one in the game, it's not going to catch on. You know what I mean? You got to let other people use your technology. That's how it grows. That's how it becomes popular. They did the same thing with HD DVD. They're like, okay, we're going to put our films on it and nobody else's films. Well, guess what? That isn't going to work. You're going to lose. And they did.
Well, I know what you see. I know what you mean about seeing things you never should have saw. I understand that, but then again, I don't just say for me, just because a movie's older and in black and white, it shouldn't be on. It doesn't need to be on Blu-ray. I don't believe that. I've seen a lot of amazing Blu-ray restorations of movies.
Yeah, King Kong is amazing. You see some things you shouldn't see, but King Kong is amazing. Steamboat Bill Jr. by Buster Keaton is one of the best looking movies I've ever seen on Blu-ray. It just the black and white is so crisp. I was just blown away. And this is in color, but the original Robin Hood from like 1938 is stunning on Blu-ray. And that film's 90 years old.
Yeah, all I can say about The Shining, I don't like the movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I'm willing to give it one more try at some point. And the big sleep is hard to figure out, but it says, like in the Leonard Maltin book, whoever wrote that one, that review, it says people have never understood it, but nobody's ever cared. Like, it's still great anyway, for some reason, Yeah, I don't know. Salem's Lot. I didn't like the movie of Salem's Lot that was out in the 70s or early 80s, whatever it was, late 70s.
I think it's 70s.
And I love the book though. I read the book when I was at school, and I loved the book. HD DVD was a whole new system, but Blu-ray was more intelligent, making a new system on which you could still watch your DVDs. Oh, that's true too. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Universal Horror. That's those are my favorite movies of all time. The Universal monsters and horrors. But the thing is, I'm not getting 4K. I've said that before. I don't care. I think Blu-ray is amazing looking. Sometimes I put a DVD on, as I've said before, and a DVD boosted up looks amazing enough, even still. So I'm like, I don't need 4K. And the thing is, if I ever get 4K, and you hold me to this, it'll be because I've been pushed into it. Because you can't get them on Blu-ray anymore. They don't make players anymore. They don't make whatever it is. And it's like, if I'm going to want to watch these things, I got to get them in 4K. Not because I'm making a voluntary move. I'm just too old for that at this point in my life, and I got plenty of enjoyment out of it. But plenty good enough. I watch regular DVDs; they look good. On sometimes, like we were saying earlier. HD CDs lost out to Super Audio CDs. Whatever SACD, whatever happened to that stuff?
It's still around, but but the thing is, most SACDs you can play on a regular. You don't get the benefits, but you can stick them in a regular CD player and play it. And HD ones you couldn't, and that's why they lost out. Again, you don't want to do that. You want to, make it as widely accessible to people as possible.
I mean, so then, in other words, the novel's hard to follow too, huh?
I've read The Big Sleep. I've read most of Chandler's book. I read that kind of stuff. That's my favorite genre to read. I don't even know what you call it, pulp fiction, I guess, film noir stuff.
Oh yeah. Now I heard about this too. I don't want a camera and mic on my TV, so I'll stay with my old 1080p. I heard about stuff like that. I don't know where I didn't pay close attention to it. It was a Facebook post. It was something where some woman was showing you how to deprogram camera and stuff on your TV. It's like, are you kidding? I mean, I know what's going on with the phones for sure, because like I say, I got my phone sitting here. And then, like, maybe later I'll look at it and something we talked about, like the Big Sleep. I'll start seeing like ads for the Big Sleep.
Well, I don't know that that's your phone. I think YouTube keeps track of this stuff because I've noticed I'll be talking about something in chats, and next thing I know, in my YouTube feed, there will be a video about what we were talking about, and I'm like,
yeah, but I'm not talking about YouTube's not on here. I'm talking about Facebook or something.
Yeah, well, your phone might be listening to you too. I wouldn't doubt it. But like when we're doing chats, YouTube is definitely listening, and
Hey, you know what? We're old. We don't have to worry about it as long as some people being born now. That's why I love saying that. Gladiator 2, a good concept. I still don't see Gladiator 1.
Me either. I'm not into gladiator movies.
You like gladiator movies, Tim?
Yeah, no, I'm not into gladiator movies. No.
Let's hope that never happens. I've been buying a lot of 4Ks over the past couple of years, but there should always be that choice to watch DVD or Blu-ray.
Well, 4K players will play a DVD and a Blu-ray, so that doesn't really matter. You can still play them. I mean, they really don't make DVD players anymore, and that's fine. They probably make ultra cheap ones, but other than that, but it doesn't matter. Just get a Blu-ray player, and still play your DVD.
Yeah, that's one thing I never understood. That I used to, when Blu-ray was like really taking off, I said, "Why don't you buy a Blu-ray player?" They said, "No, why?" And I said, "Well, because you can still watch your DVDs on it, and it'll even make them boost them a little, make them look a little better." And then if by any chance you happen to want to buy a Blu-ray, you can do it. But I don't know, it makes sense not to me.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a big upgrader, but if your DVD player dies, then get a Blu-ray player. There's no sense in looking around for another DVD player. That's ridiculous. Just get a Blu-ray player.
This is true. Well, I mean, what you said is true, not this.
Well, there's some formats. I don't know. There's so many. I watched a guy the other day. I was really bored, and it was late at night, and I didn't want to go to bed. He had this coffee maker. He turned it into this machine that identified what machine will a certain disc will play, and he had 20 different discs. And he's like, okay, this one will play this one, and this one will play this one. And it's kind of interesting, dumb, but interesting. And some things will play some things, and some things won't. And it's just,
Peter, simple think, even thinking about something. But yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of experiences like that. You kidding me? It's tracking you. It's amazing, man. And then what did they say when they said your thermostat is like spying on you too or something? Do you have thermostats that they
Mine
have?
isn't, because I don't have mine. All it does is talk to the furnace. I don't have a.
We are so done. Crickets are starting.
Awesome.
We never know who may be listening to you.
Isn't that from a Paul McCartney song?
Correct. Take it away.
Yep.
Take it away. Bump, bump. Take it away. Bump, bump.
You know, I think he missed a big opportunity when he did his deluxe set of would Take It Away. I'll talk about music for a second, because there's no version of that song, which is the full length of the song, that is by itself. If you want the full length of the song, you have to listen. It comes in at the end of Tug of War, or not Tug of War. Yeah, it is Tug of War. On the album that starts, so you get the end of the strings, and if you buy the single fades early.
Right.
He should have, on that box set, he should have put the full version of Take It Away, and he didn't.
You mean the one that just starts playing?
Yeah. It started playing on the single, but it faded early. It faded early on the single. Like a minute early. Like it's a minute shorter. It's quite a bit. I mean, anybody could go on their computer and edit a full version, but there's never been one officially released, to my knowledge.
Thermostat history. Okay. Well, you better believe it.
Oh yeah, no, they're listening. They're listening right now. Everybody that's watching this, the strange world of Gurney Slade is going to come up in your YouTube feed. Just watch.
Very well be. Everybody watch John Agar's Hand of Death, starring in their cameo appearances by Butch Patrick, Eddie Munster, although you'd never recognize him. It's before the Munsters. He's really young. And Joe Besser. The Three Stooges fame later is in there. Well, I say later. The movie's 1961. That's after Besser was in the Three Stooges. Yeah, that's another thing I like watching movies, and you never know. You got people you wouldn't expect to be in them, and especially old movies.
Yeah, I watched a war movie the other day that had 2 people in it. I'm trying to think of who the other one was, but he was one of the major stars, and he's somebody that you heard of, but he wasn't really famous. And they show the actors before the film, and there's the first page, and then the second page, and then the third page. Robert Mitchum was on the third page. I mean, this is how unknown he was at that point. It's Robert Mitchum on page 3 of the credits in the opening. It's like, wow, it had to be one of his earliest films.
Darren Gamble. Take it away. Take it away. Oh, jeez. I gotta drink this water. Got a whole bottle of drink. Oh, yeah. Phantom Planet, I remember as a bad movie. I haven't seen it. God knows how long, but the title strikes me.
No, isn't that the one? Maybe it's not. No, it's not. There's Voyage to a Prehistoric Planet, maybe the one there's one that is a film that didn't get finished, and then they finished it, and it's so horrible. It's unwatchable. It makes every Ed Wood film look like a masterpiece. I mean, there's no dialogue in it whatsoever. The whole thing is narrated by a woman, which, not that it's a woman, it doesn't matter who's narrating it. The whole film is just narrated, and it's like,
I just had a long day today, kind of, tired. I don't know about under the weather. Oh, I had problems with my eye itching, so I was wiping the eye tears. I mean, you do these things. You can't always be like, "Hey, how you doing, everybody?"
Some people can, but I don't know how they do it.
I'm not going to do that every time. I mean, sometimes you can do it, but yeah. I just realized, I asked people to come over here. I said I wasn't going to do the morning shows over at Mr. Mayo anymore. I was going to do them here at the movie channel, and I decided I'm not doing the morning shows. That's just the way it worked out. It wasn't a ruse. It was not a ruse.
There you go.
But okay, here we go. Watching 70s show, they're watching the monsters. The father, who was a real cynic, says, if there are monsters living in the suburbs, why don't the locals take guns and go kill them? Very funny. Because they're friendly. I don't know. Yeah, I remember the Divx debacle. That was ridiculous. Yeah. That was destined to failure right from the start. And
yeah.
I'm glad it did fail.
That was probably the beginning of the end of Circuit City too, because Divx was Circuit City, and they probably lost so much money on that it was the beginning of the end for them.
Yeah, well, it serves them right.
Yeah.
I thought there was something where you had to buy it. If you chose to buy it, you can only watch it like one time or something, and if you chose to buy it, they unlock it or something. You can watch it indefinitely, something like that.
Yeah, I think that there might have been, but once they went out of business, you lost it anyway. I mean, once they're out of business, you're done. You're done.
So I just think it's an amazing thing. It's one of the many things we take for granted. Because when I was a kid, if I ever thought, like when I was into monster movies and any of these kind of things, Planet of the Apes, any of this stuff, Three Stooges, that any time you could just watch anything you want at any time and see it. You can have a whole day of watching Three Stooges or whatever, 2 movies in a double feature, triple feature. I can't even imagine it. No, the shoulder is hurting. Thank you for asking.
I think it has lessened people's appreciation for this, for any kind of media, music, film, television. Television, you always had 24/7, but you couldn't watch it. It was appointment television. You had to be home and watching it.
Right.
I think people's appreciation for it has dwindled because it's there. I want to watch this. Okay, boop, boop, boop. Now I'm watching it. I mean, we used to have Record Theater in Buffalo open 24/7. So if at 2:00 in the morning you wanted to hear Carly Simon and you didn't have any Carly Simon, you got in your car and drove to Record Theater at 2:00 in the morning, bought a Carly Simon album, took it home and played it. I mean, those days are over. Now you just go, boo, boo, okay, I'm listening to Carly Simon.
Yeah, I like Humphrey Bogart and Robert mentioned me. I like both of those names. Yeah, both of those.
Yeah, I like Humphrey Bogart a lot.
Good fact. I hated Circuit City.
Yeah, well, I tried to. I was buying mini discs there at one point, and they stopped selling mini discs, and the guy's yelling at me that nobody cares about mini discs, blah 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 blah, and I never went back after that. I'm like, okay, you lost me as a customer. See ya. You don't yell at your customer for wanting to buy something at your store. It's just stupid.
Guess reading Sherry Carter's comment. I believe that Best Buy is destined for the ash heap of history. They are a shadow of it, the former shelf and self. Self
They
and shelf.
they
I
are,
agree.
but they're doing better than they were a few years ago. And the main reason is Sears went under, so their appliance business is kind of keeping them afloat.
Shelf was a pun. Yeah, I know a guy camped out overnight to be one of the first to buy the Anthology 1 CD. People don't really do that anymore. No, they don't. They really don't.
No,
Not really.
no. Well, now you've had it. You've had half of it weeks in advance just on YouTube or wherever, pre-releases and all of this crap,
But I thought his prices were insane. No, Crazy Eddie. Well, I like Tower. I miss Tower Records, Tower
Yeah.
Video.
I've never been to Crazy Eddie. Love Tower. There was 5 of them in the DC area, and they were all different. And I'd go to them all because they all had something I liked that the other ones didn't have, which was sort of amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, you
Yes,
don't
I
yell at
agree.
your customers and tell them that the technology that they have is stupid, and
I remember the Wiz. Nobody beat them either. No kidding. Nobody beats the Wiz.
See, I saw those commercials. We didn't have them, but I got PIX and WOR and WNEW where I lived. So we saw the commercials. We didn't know what they were, but we saw them.
Sorry, Richard. I already announced that. But thank you. And I don't have tickets. I didn't buy tickets, so I'm good. Yeah, J&R's Music World. I think that was mostly in Manhattan for me. I never really saw them unless I went into the city. Yeah, well, there were so many stores. Come on, Sam Goody, Record World. What are you gonna do? And Suncoast. There's Suncoast movies or whatever it was called.
One of my biggest regrets is when they were going out of business and everything was 50 to like 75% off. I didn't have a Laserdisc player at the time, but they had some amazing deals on Laserdiscs that are worth hundreds of dollars today.
Yeah.
That I could have got. I remember specifically the Badfinger documentary, which has never come out on DVD, and they had it on Laserdisc. I did buy it there on video. They had it on VHS too, and I did buy the VHS, but I could have bought the Laserdisc for probably about $8.
Yeah.
And I did hundreds of dollars today.
Yeah, Bleak. It's funny because I went to the New York City in the Village, and I used to go to all kinds of underground and really cool record stores. And Bleecker Bob's, I went in there, and that was not one of the best to me, even though it's like one of the most famous. To me, it was never one of the best. I found a lot of other better stores than that. I thought, I don't ever remember buying anything in Bleecker Bob's while I went in there in the '80s. Really.
Well, everybody has their own thing, some people don't want a gazillion things to look at, because it overwhelms them. They want a smallish record store that they go in, they find what they want quick and leave. And some people want, just everybody's different when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yep. Everybody's different. Suncoast. Yeah. Yeah, they were expensive. I remember them being expensive, I think, but I don't, but still.
They were lists. They discounted some things, and they usually had some things that were cheap too, but they didn't like have sale racks or anything. They just mix their like cutouts and markdown stuff with the regular products. You had to look through everything. And oh wow, this is cheap. Okay, I'll get this.
Hello, Noel from Bayonne, New Jersey. Oh yeah, crickets.
Crickets aren't out at my house. It's raining where I am. It's been raining all day. It rained yesterday too.
Yeah.
Rain, rain, rain.
I like the rain.
I don't either.
I like the sunshine and the warmth.
And tomorrow I'll probably be stuck home. Tomorrow or Wednesday or maybe both because they're paving my street and I won't be able to get out of my driveway.
I hate that.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what they got to do in order to fix it.
I mean, technically I can if I absolutely have to. I can back my car up a little bit, and I live on a corner, so I can drive through my yard to the main street and drive out onto the street from my front yard if I really want to. But I kind of don't want. It's not legal. I don't think anything would happen to me even if a cop drove by. But it's just not. I need to start again. I haven't done videos in a long time.
Yeah, and you better show that latest haul you got of records of Donovan.
I should. There's some minty, I've played a few tracks from some of those records, and I can't believe how, and clean them or anything. I just put them on my turntable and wow.
Yeah.
Minty stuff. I'm like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, I don't always get lucky at these places. Sometimes there's nothing. I never see records like that at any of my thrift stores at any time.
Well, you gotta go. I keep saying I go 3 times a week, Joe. You gotta go. And 90 to 95% of the time, I walk out of there with nothing.
Yeah, I know, but those records
don't
make it
go
into the bins in my stores. I don't believe
you don't know that they don't. You don't know that they don't. I walked in today. I walked in and there was a whole box of 45s, and there was a guy ahead of me and he bought 90% of them. That's what happens. You get one guy. It only takes one guy, and you go, well, they never get anything.
It is possible also, though, that if there's anything good like the stuff you showed, that the people work there might take it. If they
nobody that works at my Salvation Army is in
yours.
the
That's what I'm
Nobody
saying.
knows the first thing about it. No, they don't know the first thing about it. They're always amazed when somebody buys it, and they don't.
Well, there's no point. It's a simple point. Different stores are different. I mean, I had a few over here. I used to, back when I started, especially making videos, when I was looking for content, I used to always go to Goodwill and everything, and I'd go there. They had 2 Goodwills, and I used to go there pretty regularly. And even if I went there when they opened or whatever, there was nothing there. There was always
Well, you don't go when they're open. That's the other thing that people make, because they stock during the day. So
let me ask you: if everybody tells you, a lot of people we've talked to have said, "Tim, boy, what is it about your thrift store is so good?" Yeah, we never find nothing like that. A lot of people say that, not just me.
It's not so good. I'm telling you. I went there today, nothing. I went there today, nothing. I'll go there in 2 more days, nothing. I'll go there in 2 more days, nothing. And sometimes I'll come out with one movie or something. I mean, it's not like it's just a thrift store, and once in a while they get stuff in it. If I happen to be one of the first ones there, and that's the other thing, and I go in the afternoon, and like I said, a guy beat me to the 45s today. He filled up a shopping cart with 45s. Lord knows what he had. I have no idea, and I also live in a smart town, and there aren't that many record collectors, which is a good thing. There's a few. There's at least half a dozen to a dozen people that are in direct competition with me. That
I've never seen records like that at any of my places. That could be.
Well, as far as these minty, this is the mintiest batch I've ever seen. A lot of the records I buy, you would pass by anyway because they're not in good enough condition for you. But these were extremely minty.
This movie was covered earlier. I haven't seen it. Some people said it was good, but I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen a new movie in 20 years. So,
Mrs. Harris goes to Paris. Yeah, no, I saw Alien Romulus. That was probably the last one I saw. And I could have left it alone. Well, well, we're doing good here. We only have like a half hour or so left. That's amazing.
Ooh.
Uh, so it's funny when it's quiet. I get
Yeah,
a good.
yeah.
There you go.
Library sales are great.
You know,
I haven't been to
I
one in years, but
I've said this before though. There's a store that I know that they get buy a lot of collections of DVDs and Blu-rays, and there's hundreds. Oh, we got hundreds, and every time I look at them, they're all the same kind of things. Spider-Man, Fast and
well,
Furious, Iron Man. It's
that's
never
why I don't
old.
find many movies at my thrift store because they're all modern movies, not modern
Yeah,
movies
you
anymore.
know,
They're all
the
movies
two
now that are
thousands
like
and up.
5 years old or older, where
Doesn't
everybody is
anybody
buying the same DVDs.
doesn't anybody buy like I don't know, like Double Indemnity, or is there anything like that even a
You,
DVD? There's nothing like that
the
ever.
people that buy those are collectors that still keep them. It's just the casual person that dumps their DVDs, which is why they're all the same DVD. It's the big huge hit from 5 to 10 years ago is what most of them are.
Uh, well, Robert S. I mean, he just recently. I know he commented on one of my videos recently, but I think he's been busy, very busy with his girlfriend. I think they've been
Yeah,
really
yeah.
getting
He's
together a lot.
he's
That's what I think.
he has
His girlfriend.
found, all I have to say about that is good for him. I'm happy for him.
Well, good for him. But hey, don't leave the guys behind. No, I
No,
saw him at the record store recently. We hung out for a while at the record store.
that's good. He came up on Doc Stream maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something for a little while, which was nice.
Oh, well, Night Gallery. First of all, Matthew Smith, I don't know. We talked about Night Gallery on our time about an hour ago. So I'm wondering if
Yeah.
you're like at a different timing. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Sometimes when you turn the stream on, it doesn't. It starts at the beginning instead of where you should be.
Yeah,
So
I'm still waiting for to see some episodes from Night Gallery that are going to knock me for a loop and think, wow, that was creative or scary or anything interesting. And a couple of them are better than others, but I think they're tame by today's standards.
yeah, they to me they look like little made for TV movies.
Yep. Oh, no, don't show any albums. If you're talking about showing albums, nope,
Yeah.
that's not for this one.
No. Sorry, I would. Rules is rules.
He bought Double Indemnity at that sale.
Big Lots had this really nice Blu-ray version of Double Indemnity that came with this thick book and everything for like $5 a couple years ago. So I actually bought two of them. I sold one for like $30 and kept the other one.
Well, I have some in New York City. There's still a couple of big movie theaters, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
And I have a theater that it's not a big theater, but it shows like independent, like special films, independent or revival films. They're going to be showing the John Lennon thing that's supposed to be coming out. What is it called? Daytime Revolution, about when he was on the Mike Douglas show with Yoko. That's going to be playing at a theater on October the 9th. And it's a little independent, the independent theater. I may go to. As far as I know, my record store owner Joe is doing pretty good. That's all I don't see him that often because he's in the mornings and then leaves, and I'm there after. If I go there, it's after he's gone. But I heard good things. Yeah, it's funny because I don't know if you saw on this channel in particular. There's a guy, Richie, is in Julio and Richie. And I made a couple of videos with him talking about horror movies and things. And we've been meeting for 2 or 3 years now to one day do a video where we show our monster movie and horror science fiction soundtrack albums. So that's something maybe we'll do. We never got around to completing that. But as far as regular movie sound, I know I have some movie soundtrack videos. Uh, yeah, no, none of this streaming service stuff. No, Ghost Story. That's the movie with oh man, Fred Astaire in it. Uh, Fred Astaire. It's getting time to stand up here. I got to stand up. Oh,
Yeah, color vinyl isn't a new thing. They had color vinyl in the 30s, probably. There are 78s on colored vinyl. There are picture discs from the 30s, even.
Yeah, just 2 days till one hand clapping, but I'm not seeing it till 4 days. You know, it's playing in theaters in 2 days. I'm seeing it Saturday. So crickets.
I hear them.
Uh-huh. Beats me. Sebastian Cabot. Who killed Davy Moore? Why? What's the reason for?
I love that album.
I can't believe I never bought it. It was hilarious. It was like good for the record store because we got a laugh out of it. But then
I
I
have
found a
it.
way to play it on my own.
I have it somewhere. It's great. I like his version of "Don't Think Twice." It's all right.
Yeah.
He's like, "Don't
I
think
got next time I see that, I gotta buy it.
twice." He's being so sarcastic.
Yeah, it's good. That's a funny album. It was a beautiful copy. It was like mint. It was in shrink. It was perfect, and I didn't buy it. But like I said, we played it at the store. We laughed our asses off, and then it was like okay with the guys. It was funny, but then I'm like, well, I ever really pull this out for myself and play it? I don't. I don't know. So who knows? My husband is of a nervous disposition. I have to sort of censor stuff around him. Oddly enough, he keeps asking for horror. Well, you watch a lot of horror movies, and I always love hearing the stuff that you're watching. And that's why, like I said, with my channel again with the name, because I do want to specialize in, which I do, in horror and stuff. But there's all kinds of stuff, As I say, that I'm not going to watch besides that. So if I'm going to watch American Graffiti and talk about it, it feels funny putting it on an all horror channel name. Music Land.
We had, I forget what it was called. It was Suncoast owned a record store too, and it was the same chain as Suncoast. I forgot what it was called. They all turned into FYEs eventually, but
Oh yeah, FYE also.
and we had a Sam Goody in our mall. And we had some little local guy in the corner that was about 10 feet wide and really deep and dark in there. Nobody ever really went in there very much.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned 50s horror. I mean, I'm finding out that's what I stick with a lot. Like you've seen a lot of, if you watch my channel, a lot of movies I put up there are 50s. And I'm thinking, why 50s? I don't know what it is. I just like those times, the settings, and the monsters. They're like atomic age monsters that made science gone crazy or something.
That's also the peak. there's probably 4 times more 50s horror movies than there is 60s or 40s. I mean, that's the peak of the monster horror movies. Is the 50s.
I have not seen Empire of the Sun.
I haven't either. Weirdly.
Not seen Casper either.
No thanks.
The Casper movie. Oh, kill Davy Moore. Why? What's the reason for?
Good old Sebastian Cabot.
You see stuff like House on Haunted Hill. I love that. It's like 50, 58, I think, or 9, 15. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. I mean, a lot of that stuff I saw growing up on TV and everything, it brings back memories, So I tend to go for those 50s movies a lot. Oh, well, I have to go with Touch of Evil. I like Touch of Evil, but then again, I haven't seen what's the other one? Magnificent Ambersons? I've never seen that.
I've seen it. It did get ruined. What else do I like by him? I can never think of the name of the movie. But he's done a few good movies. But yeah, I agree though. Touch of Evil probably would be my second.
Well, that's a noir, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. A childhood where I was monster mad. A guy called Deadly Ernest did creature features, and I loved staying up. I wrote into him, and he read my letter on TV in 1960. I agree with Touch of Evil. The Legend of Hell House with Roddy McDowell. Yep.
Well, all of his movies got re-edited. There's a director's cut of that and the regular cut. But I think I like the regular cut of that better. I think a lot of people do.
Man. Hello, Penny Lane. What's the good word?
Hello, Penny Lane.
Penny. Yeah, that's what Doc does. I don't have a clip. Oh boy, we're doing pretty good. We only got like 15 minutes. This went pretty good. I wound up having fun with this as it was flowing. Yeah, though, really got to think about it. Mr. CineMayo. CineMayo's morgue. Count CineMayo. Terrible. There we go. Yeah, we didn't have a good horror host when I was growing up. No, we didn't. I missed.
I didn't either.
Exactly.
We had none.
Yeah, we had. There was. Well, we're the same we're the same age, but there was a guy on Channel 5, Metro Media, TV, whatever, called Lou Steele. His name was Lou Steele, and he used to do the voice that said, like, I think he did 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And all this kind of stuff. Anyway, and for a little while, he appeared as a host on Creature Features with dark shades, and he called himself the Creep. I'm just a guy in a business suit. He sat there, hello, everybody, today's movie going to be whatever. He just had his shades on. It wasn't like a real good host or anything.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But I have memories, good memories of that stuff. Yeah, perfect timing with the crickets. Sounds like horrible. I'll tell you though, whoever asked about my shoulder, I'm giving it a hell of a workout here. I'll tell you that right now. Just simply leaning on the desk. That's all I'm doing, leaning on the desk. Get it? What am I going to do? Yeah. On my hand hang here. It's like, you like CineMayo. Well, the problem is there's already other CineMayo's up. Yeah, there's several of them. Um, and yeah, and it's amazing how there was better stuff to watch.
Oh, yeah, no, there were, you know, just a handful of channels, and there was way more on than there is today with 500 channels.
The letter I wrote was, "Dear Deadly, roses are red, violets blue. When we see you, we all say ooh." He tossed my letter thing with disdain. I never forgot it. I was 8, and I would be 7 in '69. Yeah. Wait a minute, but how am I going to go through the month of October without watching all my Universal, the beloved monster movies? I guess what I'd have to do is I would have to do both. I'd have to just because I'm retired, for God's sake. I mean, I could watch like a Universal movie every day, and I could watch a movie I've never seen every day. Yeah.
There you go.
Rambo. He was a good host.
62 movies in October. There's your goal.
Louis Nye. Svengoolie. I'm glad we got Svengoolie because for years I used to say, "Will we ever? We'll ever see horror hosts again ever?" And then we got this guy Svengoolie. I don't know. He probably was around a longer time, but now it's pretty popular now. This Svengoolie that's on MeTV.
We had a host, but he wasn't a horror host. He showed some horror movies, but he showed all kinds of public domain movies. But he was great. I loved him. And then he just retired one day. He's like, "Okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. See ya." And off he went.
Really?
Uncle Pete, the dark vault of public domain.
Yeah. That's a good name, Deadly Ernest. It's amazing how many names they come up with. Who's that one that Doc plays again? On his channel, is a horror host. Scary guy.
I don't know because I don't know who he is.
No, we've heard his name, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, no, I've heard his name from Doc, but I'd never heard of him before that, so I don't remember. Oh.
You know, it's funny. That's the name that I've seen listed as a guy that's going to be playing at Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, really? Ben Modell's awesome.
Yeah.
He hosts the show that I watch on Sundays. He has done it a couple months, but he used to do it every Sunday during the pandemic, where he shows silent shorts, comedy shorts. Ben Modell is one of the two hosts. It's from his apartment.
Yeah, because I've seen his name mentioned at least on 2 presentations of 2 different movies, like that theater I'm talking about.
And he has his own company, and he does release films, and he is on some silent soundtracks. He has done silent film work on DVD and Blu-ray. Talented guy.
Question for you.
I am. I haven't written them down in a while. My theme, I always do a theme, and my theme this year was just films in color because I watched so much black and white last year. And once I hit 100, I kind of just stopped keeping track anymore. My goal is always 100, and I'm probably about 120 now or something like that. I kind of stopped keeping track. I just want to make sure I watch 100 films a year. I do that easy.
And there's the guy's name from Doc's channel.
Oh, Sammy Terry, yeah.
Sammy Terry, as in cemetery? Sammy Terry.
Apparently, yeah.
That's what I always think of it as, cemetery. Unless I just learned people something. Yeah. Yes, that's the guy's name. He's been listed in the credits as doing the Phantom.
Yeah, you can watch him on YouTube. It's a good show. And you can watch him later, but I always try to watch it live just to, be there and show support and blah, blah, blah. But they don't even put a chat up when it's live, which I kind of like, actually, because you're not distracted watching the film. You just sit and watch the shorts.
We'll do it live.
Yep.
Well, Tim is more of a silent guy.
Yeah, no, he's done he did a big retrospective on, oh God, I forget the guy's name. He was married to Charisse, I think. Big comedy guy from the 50s. He did a big retrospective on him, but he's probably has he has series called, I think it's called Mostly Found or something like that, where every year in New York they have this get together where they bring in all of these films that have been found, and groups of film experts sit and watch it, and they try to figure out what this film might be. The titles are missing, and he's released bunches of those that they've figured out what they are, and so they're not lost anymore.
There you go, another one, Ghoulardi.
Accidentally Preserved, that's the name of the series. Yeah, Undercrank Productions is his company. I'm just not thinking. I know all this stuff.
It happens. Welcome to the 60s.
Thinking. Yeah, I love Ben Modell, and he does really good work.
Models. Oh boy. Dun, 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 dun. He was pretty good. A few Ghoulardi clips. But you do have to boost up the amount of Lost in Space episodes. I got 83 episodes, and if I watch only one a week, that's going to take 2 years to see everything.
I watched them all once. I sat through them all once. I'll probably never watch it again.
Well, you don't have the nostalgia for them. I mean, I have like memory.
I watched them when I was a kid, but I didn't like them then either.
All right. Look, I'm tired of Doc. If you listen to Doc making fun of those.
Well, to me, it's. I mean, it didn't start out that way, but pretty soon to me it became Gilligan's Island in space. They're trapped on this planet, and they get a new visitor every week, but the visitors will never take them with them. Does that sound like Gilligan's Island? I mean,
yeah, but they didn't.
You know, I mean, it's.
Yep. Okay, when's the next Anthony? Well, the thing about, first of all, Mikey Arugula, I'm supposed to see him, I guess, is it next week coming up already? Yeah, supposed to see him next week to do another Mikey Arugula video. As far as Anthony goes, as I say, Anthony has hurt his back, so he doesn't really get around as much.
Yeah, no, he didn't look good in the last couple of videos. He was,
so that's really what's going on with Anthony.
People look smaller when they're sick, especially when they got back problems. They just look smaller,
Yeah.
They just do. I mean, I could tell, I mean, he wasn't in that video much, but when the camera panned on it, he just looked smaller, he just looked good.
And even though I like Svengoolie, I mean, there's nothing. I don't know. He's all right, I guess. I shouldn't say anything bad about him. He's good, but it's not like he's horrific or anything. He's pretty and he doesn't even have to get dressed as a vampire.
Are pretty mainstream too, which is what I don't really like about him.
Well, folks, it's getting a little bit kind of time, even though we got like 5 more minutes or so. But so maybe we'll go another 5 minutes or so if people still have things to bring up. And we'll see what we can do for another 5 minutes here. We'll give or take a minute. Yeah. And now me too. You know what's funny? When I went to get my cortisone shot, which only lasted 2 days, uh, the girl goes, What did you do?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "Nothing happened." I don't know. Oh, I don't know what happened anyway.
Yeah. Well, I was worried. I cut my own hair. Okay, I've always but
Yeah.
for the last 20 or 30 years, I've cut my own hair, and
Well, like
I was worried about it this time because I broke my arm, if you remember, and I still don't have full use of this arm. There's places it won't go that it used to go, and so I'm like, God, can I even? What if I can't? What if I start this and I can't finish? Wouldn't it, But no,
yeah.
it went. I think it went really well. I was surprised, so that was a good thing because I was a little worried about it.
Well, I'm still like, I still sleep watching TV in the reclining chair, ever so slightly back with the feet thing up a little bit. And I do have an armrest on that side, the couch. And I haven't put my arm on it. I would think that's a good thing, just to rest your arm. I don't know if in the middle of the night I'm putting pressure on it or over the side or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's what we spent the last 5 minutes on, I guess. Oh, you don't do mornings? No, yeah, well, no way. I don't do midnights. Hell no. Midnights for sleeping. I believe bedtime should be midnight to 7 a.m. But, I don't mind watching a midnight movie, but I can never stay awake. It'll be nice. And I told you people many times, so many people have insomnia, which I do not have. Never had it. Hope I never have it. However, the idea of being able to stay awake and watch a couple of movies or night, it doesn't sound bad to me, but I still wouldn't want to have insomnia. But,
Who's Eddie Furlong?
maybe it's a joke. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea who Eddie Furlong is. Sorry, don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's it. I think this went well. We had a decent time here. And let's see when we're going to do the next one.
Yeah.
I may try to do them every Tuesday, but next week maybe move to Thursday, or I don't know. But you know what? You'll know because if you're staying in touch here and you have the subscription and you have the notification bell.
Ring that bell, people.
Ring that bell. Yeah. Oh, Eddie Furlong. How can I forget that? Yeah, that kid's annoying. I'm sorry. I like Terminator 2, but that kid is so annoying.
That no thanks. I didn't like Terminator 2. I thought it was silly.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so we'll see if I can do it next Tuesday, next Thursday, not at all, whatever. But if you stay tuned here, you'll see an ad. I thought, just like it did this time in advance. Thanks, Tim, for being here.
Yep.
And I will talk to you all very soon.